Welcome back to another video. Today I'm looking at a tripod from Sunwayfoto. They sent this in for a review and test, so what I'm going to do is unbox it, show it to you in as much detail as I can, and then give you a few thoughts later on in the video, having used it for a while. We'll start off with the case. It's a very good quality padded case, and when I mean padded, it's padded all the way around, including by the zip. The shoulder strap is sewn into the material. There's the adjuster with the buckle, and on the front of that we have a separate pocket that's also padded at the front as well. So there's a lot of padding on this case. The company has quite a few tripods in their model range, but this one is definitely in the travel tripod category. Just go through a few of the included items. We do have a user manual. We've got a set of Allen keys. They've given you 4 in total. And in addition to that, we have a lens cleaning cloth. Sometimes you see these with these tripods. Quite a decent size one as well. They also give you a short column. This one is very short. It's only 4.2 centimeters in length. You'll see there's a spring-loaded mechanism on the bottom, and that lets you fit the hook in there if you want to. I'll show you that in a while. In this pack, we have the stainless steel spikes, and they are quite chunky ones at that. You'll also notice that we do have quite thick O-rings around those. We'll take a look at some of the design areas on the tripod now. This is an updated model over the previous one, and they've made the overall size a bit smaller thanks to the center column, which I'll show you shortly. With the base plate, it's a standard 3/8 thread. We have a diameter of 53 millimeters, so it will take a fairly decent size head. Got additional bolts on that into the center column. You also have a locking mechanism for the head that you can see there. You can actually tighten that up, and that will push up into the head if you want to. Personally, I find it to be pretty secure anyway. We have a lever lock for the center column, which makes it quite fast to adjust. And on the other end of the column, you can see we've got this spring-loaded mechanism with the hook. What you have to do with that is push it up and twist it around. It won't come out unless it's pushed up. And that is also made out of the same aluminium as the rest of the tripod. You can tell it is anodized. It's got a harder finishing on it compared to sort of standard aluminium. They mix it with different metals to get a stronger material. So I'll just take that out and I'll show you the center column now. They've gone with a triangular design on the center column, but it's a bit different to some of the other ones that I've looked at. Instead of having flat edges, they've curved them in. I assume that is to save a bit of weight, possibly. I'll just show you the lever lock mechanism, and you can see it's a pinch system. There's no movement at all off of the center column when it's locked down. We've got the same anodized aluminium material on the top of the legs and on the base. We've got 2 1/4-inch threads, so you can fit some accessories on there. The larger Allen key is the one that you want for adjusting the tension on the legs, and they are pretty stiff out of the box. These silver parts are also metal, so you just pull them out, and that's your locking mechanism for the leg angles. It's a semi-automatic system, so what happens is when you open it out and you bring it all the way up, then the clamp will come down, and then it will continue to push down when you change the leg angles, as I'm showing you now. Another neat design touch is the vent holes at the top of the legs, so that helps push the air through when you're pushing the legs up. Clearly there are different grades of carbon. You can tell this is one of the better quality ones just by looking at it. We'll move down to the twist locks now. These are pretty chunky, so even if you get these wet, you can see the pattern there. It's very easy to get a good grip on those. Even the smallest leg section is still quite thick really, so that should help with the stability. If I unscrew one of them now, you'll see we have nice thick red O-rings, and we have some well greased up threads. These appear to be square cut threads looking at them. Pretty standard design for the top of the legs. And I move down to the feet now. The ones that are included on it when you take it out of the box are these rounded rubber ones. They're quite a hard rubber. But you'll also notice we still have the red O-ring on those as well. So this has also got some degree of sealing. And I'll just show you fitting the spikes now. They've got a pretty big O-ring on these which helps to seal it around the bottom. You can get them pretty tight just by hand, but you've got that hole there, so if you want to add a little bit of extra, just use the included Allen key just to give it a fraction of a turn, and then that will seat it right the way down. Spikes are quite useful for uneven ground, but they're also pretty good as well for grassy areas. You can really dig in there and get a bit more grip. I didn't get ahead with this, but I've just put the K&F one on just to show you. Perhaps I'll be able to look at a few different head models later on. What I did note with the Sunwayfoto is the stability on this is probably the best that I've used of all the tripods that I've tried last few years. It really does settle down very quickly, even if it's fully extended to its maximum height. There's very little flexing on the legs, even the smallest section at the bottom. I mean, stability is pretty important for a tripod. It's hard to measure it, but I can say this is definitely better than the other ones that I've used to date. If you want to get very low down, obviously the main center column is just over 30 centimeters in length, so you'll need to use the short column. Drop that down into place and then you can lock it off. You'll notice that it doesn't fall through, it does stop. I'm glad they included that because it is very useful, and you can also refit the hook on the underside if you want to for a bit more stability. You get about 7 centimeters off the ground. Remember that the head will add a bit of height to that. As far as the water resistance goes, nothing to complain about at all with this tripod. You can have no problems at all taking it out into the water and submerging it. Those O-rings do keep the dirt out. And I have had problems before with tripods. One of these Zombie ones I had a few years ago, I took that to the beach, didn't drop it in anything, just used it normally, but I got sand in all of the threads, so I had to strip it all the way down. So don't underestimate the use of the O-rings, it does make a big difference. We'll talk about a few things which could possibly be improved. There is no leg grips on this tripod. They can sometimes be useful to have, but they did send some through, and I'll just show you those quickly. These are an add-on extra items, and you can see with the design on these, it's sort of a digital camo. This will fit this tripod or larger legs. If you have smaller legs, then you'll want to go down and try the other two sizes. It's got silicone bobbles on one part, and we've got obviously the Velcro. This is the strongest Velcro I've ever seen on any product. Probably a bit too strong, to be honest. So my advice is just tighten them off as tight as you can, and then push down onto the Velcro to lock it into place. These work pretty well. It's a useful addition to have. Although I probably would have included one on it myself. It's not a big issue, but some tripods I've looked at had a reversible thread, so you could get the 1/4 inch thread as well as the 3/8 inch. Quick note about the case, I did talk about this briefly at the start of the video. Nothing wrong with the quality, it's perfectly fine, more than good enough. The issue is there just isn't that much space left, so you really don't have any space to fit a head. So hopefully they'll look into that one. Pretty small point, but thought I would mention it. If you're looking for something slightly smaller than this model, there is another one which is a little bit more compact. That one extends up to 1.43 meters, and this one is a 1.59. Exactly the same design. Overall thoughts though with the Sunwayfoto, very nice tripod. If I make a comparison between this and the Fibre ST124, which I looked at about 18 months ago, the Fibre is a little bit lighter, a couple 100 grams I think, but the stability is definitely, in my opinion, better on the Sunwayfoto. So if you're someone who's using heavier or longer lenses, I would probably go for the Sunwayfoto myself. Hopefully that will give you a good idea of what to expect with this tripod, but if you have any questions, do drop a comment down below. Happy to help and answer those if I can.